This is the first race I've ever won. How are you? Have a seat. All right, well, we have to start with the introduction that I gave, because winning a prestigious title like that, 28 years apart. First, take us back to being age 22, because I would guess many of your fellow competitors were a little bit older and wondered who this kid was out here taking their money.
Yeah, it was something the year before when I was 21. I lost in a playoff for the Michigan Open, and going into the next year, I didn't have much expectations, but I was just young. I didn't know what I was doing, but I just come off a really competitive season playing college golf for Indiana University, and I was playing in these tournaments with against Jerry Pate, Curtis Strange, Jay Haas, Peter Jacobson, Craig Stadler, and really it helped me a lot to improve my game, and so I was at a big advantage. When I would go play in the Michigan Open, I've been playing every day against these top competitors in this collegiate schedule, and I liked Bedford Valley. It was a lot like the course I played at IU, and I always seemed to play well there. And I don't know. I came off that. I remember driving with my parents going into the last round, and I was hanging out of the seat thinking, geez, don't miss those 2-foot putts like you did the year before. And
that was your competitive thought?
That's the sports psychology lesson.
So much for positive thought.
Don't miss the 2-footers when you're in contention. But I was just sitting over thinking why I'm going to be. One of the reasons, big reasons I'm sitting up here is because some of the shots I hit. And on the 14th hole, that last round, I'd sliced my drive into the trees, and at that time I had just fallen out of the lead, and my 3-putt in the hole before, which is I'm notorious for that, and so I just planned on punching a 5-iron back out to the middle of the fairway, and took the 5-iron out, and I punched it, and it hit a tree, and it came right back to where I was standing. So I tried the same shot again. I hit another tree. This time the ball went 30 yards back behind me. So now I'm laying 3, last round of the Michigan Open on the 14th hole, and so I walked back to my ball with my caddy, and a club happened to be sticking out of my golf bag. So I just grabbed it, and I took a swipe at it, and I hit this big slice with this 3-iron out of the trees, over the hill. I couldn't see the green. I didn't know where the pin was, and the ball disappeared over the hill, and then started running down the hill, and the people, we had a fairly good sized crowd that were following this, and they started to cheer and roar, and it kept getting louder and louder, and that darn ball rolled up 6 inches from the hole. And when I lay in bed at night thinking about what's the best shot I ever hit in my life, and it's always that shot. And then of course I backed it up on the next hole, 230-yard par 3, I hit a 2-iron 2 inches from the cup. And then the next hole I birdied 2, I chipped it like 6 inches, so I played 3 holes with a total of like 1 foot of putting.
So you didn't miss the 2-footer.
You have to putt the 2-footer. Yeah.
Well, what's fascinating to me, and I'm guessing, because I'm not a champion golfer, I'm guessing that many of you who have won titles, including Bob, have this uncanny ability to go back and recall shot for shot. I mean, this wasn't exactly last week. And here you are telling us what club you could probably walk us to the tree. And so it leads me to a question about the memories that this game has provided for you. Before we get to the 28 years later, when you add another title and then throw another one on top of that, and what memories has this game given you? What's it done for your life?
Oh, gee, it's pretty much been my whole life. My dad was a really good golfer. He won our club championship at the little public golf course that I grew up on. He won it 30 years in a row, which can you imagine that, winning the same club champ 30
Just
years
one
in a row.
plaque.
Yeah, so I grew up with a TV set and trophy case full of all these club championship trophies, and my mother also ran the junior golf program at this little public golf course that I grew up on. It was a 5,500-yard par 67 golf course, and I still go back there and play it, every year, and it's still my favorite golf course. And my dad held the course record there of 60. And here's another tip for you. My dad told me every time you go out to play that course, try to break the course record. So how's that for putting pressure on a kid? So I was never able to do it, but you know, it's that golf course, when I go back there and play, you know, I'll be going down the hole and I'll see my dad parked in a car, you know, watching me play. And, you know, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be sitting up here. He gave me all kind of opportunity to, you know, to pursue the sport. And my mother was also behind me 100%. And he was, you know, he loved golf, and he was instrumental in giving me a scholarship to Indiana University. I was all set to go to play for Bowling Green. I had won the Michigan High School Championship in '71. My team won, and I won the individual. And my dad wrote a letter to Bill Orwig, who was the athletic director at IU. And my dad used to play semi-pro basketball with Bill Orwig. And so my dad wrote a nice letter, said, we got this kid, he's a good athlete, and he's a good student. And Bill Orwig, you know, wrote him back and said, yeah, we're looking for good kids to go to IU, and well, I'll get you an interview with the golf coach. And so my dad and I drove down to IU in March of that year. I hadn't played since the previous year, and all I did was, you know, play 18 holes of golf with 3 other golf team members, and I'll be darned if they didn't give me a full ride.
It's pretty good 18 holes.
Yeah, and it was that was like a huge break as a golfer to be able to go to that great school and play for that golf program.
Well, the journey that you took launches with the title at the age of 22, at least as far as big titles go. Then we fast forward to 2003. That's the age of the Jetsons. This is a different world compared to where you first won. And here you are now, 50 years old. You win the Michigan Open again, and just for good measure, tack on the Michigan Senior Open, which has never happened before in the same year. What in the world is in your water, man? How do you do this at the age of 50?
Well, you know, I turned 50, and I walked into Bedford Valley, and I saw Ken Allard's picture on a wall, and he shot 4 under to win. I says, well, that's what I got to do to win. And I was coming off a shoulder injury. I hadn't played or practiced much, but I kind of just, you know, got the most out of what I could. That first round I shot even par, and then the second round I shot 68, and I ended up winning. And whenever you win, it really boosts your confidence. And
did you ever have a time when you were not confident in this game? Please say yes, or else I'm out of here, and so is everybody else.
Not until the last putt goes in the hole, and they hand me the trophy. Up until then, it's like walking a tightrope. So, you know, there's another sports psychology lesson for you. It's tough, and it's never easy. But yeah, winning the Senior Open, and then I went up to the Grand Traverse, and I took my 2 boys with me. That was always, you talk about memories, being able to take your family with you up to Grand Traverse and have that part of that Michigan Open experience. And you know, I played the first round. I putted poorly. I was really disappointed. I think I shot 74. And that night in the hotel,
I'll show you putting.
Yeah. That night in the hotel room, I had my son set up this little laser thing, and so I made an adjustment my putting stroke, and the next day I shot 65. And in fact, that afternoon, I took my 2 boys, they were 12 years old at the time, to the Kingsley Club. So I shoot 65 the second round of the Michigan Open in the morning, and watch my 2 boys play the Kingsley Club in the afternoon. That was a good day. And so then I pulled a 69 out of my hat the third round, which gave me a 2-shot lead. And I just turned my putting around. Is what happened. And so now I'm going into the last round with a 2-shot lead, and I go out to the course in the morning, and it's a big storm comes through. It's spitting rain, and the wind's howling, and Mark Inglis, who worked for me as an assistant pro at Aurora Country Club for 5 years, was standing there on the first tee, and I said, hi, Mark, and he says, Bob, I'm here to see history being made. And I said, would you like to caddy for me? And he said, sure. So he caddied for me that last round, and you know, I was just playing really well, and you know, again, I'm sitting up there thinking, why am I up here? It's because of some of the shots I hit, and I hit a 3-iron. The wind was blowing so hard on 18 at the Bear that day. I just piped a drive. I took the left-hand route, but hit a perfect drive, and then I was sitting right next to the 200-yard mark. So now I'm hitting over the lake into that 2-club wind, and I hit that 3-iron so good. I mean, it's just, it's what keeps you coming back for golf when you hit that sweet spot, like never before.
Someday.
So now I end up three putting last hole, fall into a playoff. Typical, it's never easy, but I got up on the first playoff hole, and I've always been good in playoffs. And I won the toss, and I just piped it right down the middle with a drive, put a lot of pressure on my opponent, and won the playoffs. So to win those two tournaments in the same year and hold those two titles is a unique accomplishment. And it's and now if I could just do it one more time, then I'll be all set.
Greedy, aren't you?
I saw a really good thing online about Tiger Woods' dad. He says, as long as you can keep a fresh mind, keep those juices flowing, you can play for a long time this game. It's the fresh mind.
Well, your resume is tremendous. Your recall of every shot is tremendous. I'm not sure that I would recommend you follow a lot of Tiger's advice, but his resume is pretty good too. And so the last question that I have for you is, what does it mean to you to be sitting in a Hall of Fame induction ceremony? It's different for two guys sitting around talking about great moments. Now you're about to be, the verb is enshrined. Pretty big deal.
Yeah, this has never happened to me before, and I saw where Walter Berkemo, was got two Purple Hearts, and one was at the Battle of the Bulge, and to be in the same lineup as somebody like Walter Berkemo, in fact I got paired with the first two rounds of the 1974 Michigan Open, is like, I really can't, it's just almost incomprehensible that I could be in the same Hall of Fame as Walter Berkemo, and it's really great to be recognized, and it's an experience that I never had before. And I'd also like to say too that my brother-in-law Gary Groh is going to be inducted into the Illinois PGA Hall of Fame this year too. So he's somebody that I wanted to mention if I had a chance to, that had a big influence on my game, along with my parents, also my family, my wife and my kids, and. So without them, none of this would have been possible, and it's just something that I'll never forget.
Well, I have good news for you. That lifelong streak of never being inducted into a Hall of Fame is over. On behalf of the committee of the Michigan Golf Hall of Fame, we welcome in Robert W. Ackerman,